Quantum stocks are off to an amazing start in 2025, but we've seen some big dips recently today. Most quantum companies have pulled back significantly today. We do see highs on IONQ up to $84 a share. Rigetti was recently valued at around $58 a share and pulling back down to 48. And then we saw QBTS pull back down from that price point of around $46 a share back down to around 40. We're looking for this pullback. We've been anticipating it as it's at a resistance. Most of the quantum companies are at a high as we were analyzing them just the other day. I think it was yesterday. We're watching and saying, hey, look at this resistance here. They are selling down. We could potentially see them break this level. Now, if this video gets 200 likes, then we'll go ahead and do our live session that we do Monday through Friday privately in StockMates. We will do it publicly for you. If you want to see it tomorrow morning, our live session, all this video has to do is get 200 likes and we'll have a public live trading session. I can actually roll a clip from yesterday. If those indicators in the market show that these quantum computers are seeing more usage, then that's going to obviously continue the frenzy. Now, I'm a long-term holder in all these companies, and I have had positions in them for the last year or so. And I've been to a lot of different conferences on these companies, so I got a pretty good grasp of where they're at. But personally, I think they're still fairly far away, and that's from a market utilization perspective. Obviously, the capital is finding its way into these companies right now, though. So they're pricing in for a couple of years from now. You see them up to $45 a share on QBTS. Breakouts could continue. Previous resistance level is at $39 a share. So that could be the next level of support. 39 bucks a share there for QBTS, for it to continue this bull run that it's in. And you already saw it kind of sell back down and validate that previous resistance at 39 bucks earlier today. So conservative sell-off without continuing breakout would be a sell down back 10% to that $38 price point. Conservatively, and I think probably what would be the most healthy, probably down to that $36 price point. So that was a clip from yesterday, but that's exactly what we saw happen today in the quantum market. And so what's going on with quantum computing today? Well, here on our quantum watch list, you can see that the inverses are up, but that only happens when IONQ goes down or Rigetti goes down. And so Rigetti is down 13.5%, IONQ 7%. QBTS is down here as well, about 9% today. So pretty significant pullbacks. We did see this coming over on Mercatus as well. If we can pull up an analysis, let's get one here on, for example, QBTS, and let's get that analysis rolling. And as we do, just kind of looking at the quantum market, a lot of hype recently around the potential spending from JP Morgan. If you look at JP Morgan's recent announcements, they've said that they're more involved in quantum computing. And actually, I just went to a conference this past month where we went to Albuquerque, flew in to see some of the quantum companies. And one of the top companies that was looking at implementing quantum into their financial, which is the main reason I was there, because we're actually integrating into financial right now. If I show you D-Wave, for example, yes, this is D-Wave stock we're analyzing, but we're adding soon the ability to have quantum do some of the analysis, not just OpenAI or Grok or what have you. So JP Morgan was there, and I was really curious at this last conference we went to how they were investing it. And then just 3 days ago, JP Morgan announced it's going to invest $10 billion in 27 specific industries, one of the main industries including quantum computing. So that includes companies like IONQ, and we've seen that be the case. So IONQ is one. They have their trapped ion tech, and they've already seen investments from NVIDIA and Microsoft and Google, and they're partnered with a lot of big companies here like Amazon and Air Force Research Laboratory, universities as well. They haven't seen that money roll in, but aside from JP Morgan, most quantum companies looking for this $2.7 billion Quantum Initiative Reauthorization Act that hasn't gone through, that's expected to pass soon as a result of a government shutdown discontinuing and getting the government to open back up, that would be more of the conversation. But same thing with Rigetti, when it comes to the institutional buying, JP Morgan is obviously, they're in the conversation. They're not the main holder. They're there, if we look around, JP Morgan Chase, they have maybe 1 million shares here of Rigetti, but usually they're not leading the way. They're expecting to invest more, but the main leaders in investing in quantum are Vanguard. Vanguard holds 22 million shares of Rigetti, along with BlackRock and State Street. These are the main companies institutionally buying the stocks. And you see the holders, increased positions are up on most quantum companies, obviously, as we see them surge to all-time highs this past week or so to that $84 price point on IONQ. They just broke pattern kind of and started selling back down. You can see now getting into this trend. Newest support level for IONQ is around that $65 range. That was the level that we had some trouble breaking out above, I believe. Yep, right around 65 here. Support. There could be some support levels to watch there as they just sold down to that price point and then recovered momentarily back up to 67. So we want to watch $65. If they can't hold 65, next level of support is going to be right around $58 or $60 a share for IONQ. And then, of course, there is the, hey, maybe the financials haven't caught up on these companies yet, but you could continue to add for the long term. Personally, I'm not adding any more to our positions right at the moment. For our long-term positions, we started covering these ones about a year ago, back around like $1 a share on Rigetti, and IONQ was fraction what it was. QBTS was around $1. And so we're just going to hold off. But if we look for any shorter term trades, could see a recovery up to that $78 price point. That's a 10%, or that 30% swing if they continue their trend in the bullish direction. But again, they are seeing some corrections here, and the greater market did see some pullbacks today. So next level of support besides that $65 range on IONQ is down to about $60. Most of them move similarly. So, nearest support level on QBTS seems like we were watching this level around $38 a share. They did pull down to about $40 today. So we want to watch and see if they can hold that $38 price range here on QBTS. If they can, excellent, or if they're not able to hold that level, next level of support is going to be down here around $35 a share for QBTS, with the recent highs that they'd look to recover to between 10 to 30% if they make that recovery up into about $47 a share. So same thing is true with quantum, in that they are trading at levels that they're most likely not going to see stabilize for a while. It's possible they stabilize at their current levels, but I think that their current levels are, again, like trading at the multiples of where they would be a couple of years from now. And so that's really what we're seeing. Same thing over here with Rigetti. You see that pullback kick in today. They pulled back down in their greater uptrend. Super healthy, super normal. Let's see if they hold around that $47 range. You could see that previous resistance level for Rigetti here, right here. And I'm a long-term holder. I actually saw my position drop from 400% gain here down to just 375%. Oh, only 375% on Rigetti? Dang it. It's funny because some people they see a big correction on a long-term position or a medium-term position, and sometimes they panic, But what's funny is, like, imagine that you invest $100 when Rigetti was $1 a share a year ago. Okay, $100 invested in Rigetti when it was $1 a share would now be worth $4,900. So basically, $100. If this thing, let's say, goes to $50 a share, then your investment would have gone up by $100. So on the original initial cost basis for long-term investors, if you see a swing up to $50, for example, from here, a dollar swing, let's say, that's a 100% double. It's a doubling of your initial investment again. That's the power of long-term holding. So when we see long-term stocks that we hold in quantum or in data centers or AI, it doesn't really bother us on these dips. In fact, we just look for more buying opportunities. But the shorter term trades, it just means you got to manage positions. And so Rigetti nearest support around $46, $47 a share. That's one to watch there if they can't hold above that moving average. Next level support around 45. And then, of course, the bullish uptrend for those that are trading the hyperbull trend, if it continues for the quantum market, for Rigetti would be about a 10 to 20% swing back up into that $58 range, which is very bullish and possible. But again, you're looking at if it's a shorter term trade, you'd want to manage your risk. Really good example would be like we just sold for a profit this data center company we were trading yesterday. It was BITF or BITF. Yeah, it's a data center company. And we've been trading APLD. We've been trading a lot of those. And we like data centers now. In the future, maybe quantum computers make data centers not as necessary to be so huge because quantum computers are so efficient. That's kind of the goal, right? But ultimately, data centers are powering AI right now. And so we were just trading BITF. And why I bring this up is because when we were trading it, we bought at $5. We ended up selling around $6 a share. I don't know if you could see my orders here on the left potentially. But basically we made like $1,200. Okay. We got back into BITF this morning and we were looking for this trend to continue. And we had a very clear plan mapped out for BITF. And we bought this dip right here. And we were looking for it to continue up about 10%, continue the uptrend. But we set a stop loss around 1 or 2% because the other day we traded it around $5 here up to $6.50 or something. That was a 25% trade. It was great. But when we're going for 10, 20, 30% in the short term, we don't want to risk 10, 20, 30%. We only risk like 2%. So today, when it corrected back down, it looks like we sold back out around 561. Right around here we sold. And it's good we managed risk because it continued down. And look, it's down 15% today. And so we didn't have to see a big drawdown on our accounts because we managed risk. And when we win much greater than that of our risk. And so that's kind of the key here for like quantum computing stocks. Like if you're going to trade them short term, have a plan. Excuse me. Here in Buenos Aires, still having some allergies because it's spring here actually. So just visiting from California and still getting some allergies. Even though it's winter over there in California. So, as we're getting into, or I guess it's fall right now, as we're getting into the quantum market corrections today, we're going to see if they can keep their overall direction, nothing where they've completely broken pattern. A lot of them are still kind of in the uptrend, as you could see with like Rigetti, for example, still keeping the uptrend. It's just pulled back today. So maybe they hold that, continue up. That's great. We'll be monitoring them closely and seeing if any shorter term opportunities present themselves. Maybe we get a validation and look for a shorter term trade. Otherwise, we're going to be monitoring those support levels, the previous resistance there for a lot of these quantum companies to see that they hold in that near term. And if you have any comments on Rigetti or quantum stocks, leave them down below. I'm curious what you guys are thinking currently. As most quantum stocks have surged to all-time highs, what are your thoughts down below? Let me know. And also later today, we are doing an announcement on the machine. If you want to learn how to use this tool we were using that was giving us this projection that D-Wave was going to correct over the next day and most likely going to correct over the next week, how do we use AI to analyze stocks? Well, you can learn how. Would love to see you there. It's the first link to join the first access list for Mercatus, the machine. We use it almost every day for our analysis. So this tool is for investors alike, and any investors that are looking to optimize their strategy should probably consider speeding up their analysis with the machine. So again, it's the first link in the description below. If you want to skip the line though, and you want to go straight to the live sessions Monday through Friday every day and get a free t-shirt when you join, along with a community of over 28 millionaires and beginners as well that are there in the investing community, it's the second link in the description to join StockMate. And our next live trading is happening tomorrow morning. Hopefully I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button, do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.